Well, here we are. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today. And my name is Richard Rosen, Chair of the Green Burial Society of Canada, and we welcome you to our annual general meeting, first time being held in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I'm going to just give a quick welcome, and then we'll turn the business part of the meeting over to Stephen Olson out in BC, and the business part will be quite short, and then we'll have some presentations and a short question and answer, and then we will wrap up. So when I was thinking about today, I was thinking about an event that I had been to not too long ago for an organization we're going to hear from shortly called Biz for Climate. And its president and founder had talked about environmental issues as about not doing things. It's not about doing things that's easy. It's about doing things that are necessary. And any environmental issue is always about trying to do what is absolutely necessary for the betterment of the environment and for all of us as inhabitants of this place that we've been given to live. And it's curious and difficult for us in the death care industry, because environmental issues are a lot harder to talk about in our area of environmental concern, because it has to do with our mortality, and people don't want to talk about that. So the biggest thing that I can share with you is it's necessary, and to try diligently to get past the idea that we won't be here, but yet what the decisions that we make, and especially the final one, but our final disposition, impacts everybody. Reconciliation isn't easy, but it's absolutely necessary. And one of the ways that I personally have found to reconcile things that have happened in the past to the elders of this place that we live is to try diligently and as faithfully and lovingly and as caringly as I can to return people to the earth in a natural, dignified, and pristine way, that by learning from Indigenous elders and communities about how to bury the dead, because we had to come here and we had to be taught how to eat, how to create shelter, and how to bury our dead on a Canadian prairie when it's minus 40 degrees, and we had to have help. And we have to continue to remember that the people who listen to the land, who speak to the land, are the people that we need to continue to learn from. So thank you again for coming, for all of you here. I'm going to, we have an elder here that has some words in a moment. I'd like to thank all of those who have been on the board previously, who are stepping down. We are grateful for all of the efforts, the commitment and dedication and zeal that you've had, and for everyone that's going to be stepping into new roles. For Crystal and the new team of board members and executive, we're grateful, and I'm grateful personally for the efforts and the support that I've had over the past year and a bit as chair. It's been a heck of a lot of fun, and I am grateful for everybody and for everyone's support, and for everyone who's attending here today and their ongoing concerns about green burial issues. We thank you very much. And with that, in our quest to continue to respect our land and to find good and wholesome ways to bury your dead, I call upon Renee Yetman to bring greetings and prayer. Renee.
Good afternoon. Bonjour. And hello. Before I start off with a prayer, I would like to introduce who I am. My Cree spirit name is Kamut the Wayhut and means echo of the drum. My government name is Renee Yetman. I'm a Cree Indigenous woman from the Strwasi Cree Nation that's located in northern Manitoba on the Treaty 5 territory. But I do reside here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I'm very honored to be here to, you know, send off some prayers for each and one of all of you that are here physically, and then the ones that are online. So, yeah, and this is my first time ever hearing about your guys' organization. I'm very, very impressed with what you guys are doing, you know, helping them. Okay, I should say this in my prayers instead. Okay, let's start this off. Oh, you can slow me off here. But anyway, so I got my smudge bowl here, and I got the tobacco offering from Richard, and thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, well, I'm gonna light my smudge bowl. There's sage, cedar, and sweetgrass in here. This is how we send off our prayers. Here. And there's my eagle fan. So I'm just gonna let the smudge flow through the room. Okay. My prayers, I ask Creator and our ancestors to come in four directions to be here with us from the east, from the south, the west, and the north. I pray for each and one of you here, and then the ones that are online. I pray that pray for like all the good work you guys are doing. You know, this is the work that you're doing. I know it may be heavy, but it's also like considered a hard work. You know, you're working hard. You're helping families, and you're helping families with their deceased, and and burying them. And I pray for them too. I pray for each and one of you for pray for each and one of you to like to support each other through this work, because it could get heavy sometimes and stressful. We gotta continue to support each other, and so to be strong for the families, and you guys are taking care of the land too. You're putting the deceased in there, and sending them off to this spiritual world, and that's really good work. I pray that all the everybody else out there, that I noticed that you're it's all over the world, that's really good. So that's really good. I pray that Creator and our ancestors are your God, that will continue to guide you to with this work you're doing. And I also I pray that you guys continue on with your annual general meetings here. And it's like, I pray that you guys continue on, expanding more and more all over Canada, even from even in I pray that you guys go up north too, they I know that they need it up there too. I continue, I pray for continue building those connections with our elders, our knowledge keepers, the community. I pray that okay. At this moment, I would like for you guys to stand up. It's okay if you guys online, you really need to stand up. Okay? At this moment, I really wanted for you to take this time and just breathe in 3 times. In and out. Let it hit your core. Smell all the medicines. And then, hug the person next to you. Give them a handshake. Congratulate them. Tell them you did really good work. Acknowledge each other.
I'm gonna hug you.
Oh, you want to hug me too? Okay, I like hugs. Yeah, so That's what you guys need to do as a team, you know, build each other up. I think you guys to do that, you know. This is really, I know it could be hard on them, like it could be hard on you mentally. You guys are all doing your job. Your sees you, your God sees you. Your sister sees you. You know, I pray for everything and for all. I pray for everything to continue to go well. And thank you for bringing me here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. We'll now turn the rest of this portion of the meeting over to Stephen Olson in British Columbia for the business portion of the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. Great. Just wanted to thank everybody for participating. Richard, I was just wondering if you could advise us how many people are present in the room with you in Winnipeg?
8, a handful.
8 in the room.
Okay, great, thank you. So this is, as Richard mentioned, this is the business portion of this AGM. It goes relatively quickly, and I'll just run through some of the things that we need to officially do to satisfy the Society Act of BC, where the GBSC is registered. First of all, I want to confirm that Lacey Barr is our minute taker, and she uses the recording and AI capabilities of Zoom to help us generate the minutes for this meeting. I can confirm that the notice for the meeting was circulated in accordance with our bylaw, and due notice was sent to all members and friends of the GBSC. We definitely have a quorum, so I can confirm that there's a quorum present for the meeting, and now I just need a motion from somebody to adopt the agenda for the meeting. And Lorraine Tracy has moved the agenda. Do I have a seconder?
William. Yep. He doesn't have any there.
I can second if there's nobody else. This is Trish Penner.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on with this. The first thing is meeting package was distributed to the outgoing board members that contain the minutes of the annual general meeting of the GBSC, which was held Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. They should have all had an opportunity to read those, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt the minutes. Is it, oh, Penny? Yep, great. And seconder, Lorraine Tracy. Excellent, thank you. I'd like to just call on Kathy Valentine to just discuss the financial status of the GBSC as it was at the end of December, and then as it is currently at this point in the year. So I'll just call on Kathy to provide some brief comments about what happened last year and where we are at this point in the year.
Just want wanted to check if everyone can hear me and online, if you can hear me okay?
Yes, Stephen, give a thumbs up.
Can Stephen give a thumbs up if you can hear me well, Stephen? Okay, great, thank you.
Kathy, you are pretty quiet. If you're able to stand a little closer to the mic, that might help.
Okay, is that better?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So for 2024, we have these two charts. The income, our main source of income in 2024 was the Green Burial site renewal fees at $3,200. Secondly, income came in from a friend of the Green Burial Society memberships, and we appreciate that very much when people send those $50 memberships in. And third income was new application fees. So for new cemeteries, there were 2 cemeteries that became certified in 2024. And then the last income was from the conservation burial renewal fees. Conservation burial renewal fees are only $150 annually, whereas green burial sites are $300 annually. So that's the difference there. So for a total income in 2024 of $4,229.65. Now our expenses in 2024, the main expense, which you can see, is the website software and apps. So that's managing the website and the MailChimp monthly fee and our Dropbox folder. Second expense was travel expenses, and that was to last year's AGM. Third was bank charges. Don't we all love that? $152.20. Merchant account fees, that's PayPal, and then postage at $17.84. So total operating expenses were $3,333.62. So in 2024, we had a net profit of $896.03. So I submit this as my financial report for 2024. Motion that is accepted.
I'll accept the motion.
Crystal accepts the motion. All in favor? I think we need some online participants to have
Yep, we're all good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kathy, and thanks for all your hard work and keeping the book straight and keeping us on track. You're doing a great job for us. The next thing, very quickly, maybe we'll ask Crystal if she wants to add any comments to this. But we have a board of incoming board of directors that will be carrying on. First of all, I want to say Richard is stepping down from the presidency. He will be, I believe, remaining on the board. That's, I believe, to be confirmed. But I wanted to thank Richard for all his work over the past few years in leading the GBSC. He's done a great job, and he runs a great meeting. So I really appreciate all your work, Richard. So just read off the incoming board of directors as it stands at when we wrote this report. We have incoming president will be Crystal Riddell of Ontario. Incoming vice president will be Lorraine Frazee of BC. And the treasurer will remain Kathy Valentine of BC. Directors continuing or new directors coming on. We're happy to report we have a new director coming on from the province of Quebec, and that is Virginia Marcolin. So welcome to the board, Virginia. We have Lacey Barr will be continuing, and she will fulfill the duties of the secretary. Penny Allport of BC will be on the board. Louisa Horn of Nova Scotia. Ray Matoli of Nova Scotia, Mark Richardson of Ontario, Trish Penner of Manitoba, and Lynn Oliphant of Saskatchewan. And as I also mentioned, as past president, Richard Rosen will obviously be added to that list. We also have 2 director emeritus positions. These are former board members or founders that remain active with the GBSC in a consultative capacity, ex officio, and that's Eric Lees of BC and myself here in BC. So that is the incoming board of directors report. Crystal, did you want to add anything before we move that for acceptance as circulated?
So the only thing I will add to that is that Virginia was nominated by our board, and we have all of the emails that were circulated came back in approval of accepting her her board application of being part of our board. So
excellent. So if I could have a motion to adopt the incoming board of directors report as circulated and presented. Thanks, Lorraine. And a seconder, please. Thanks, Penny.
Now you can be on.
That's great. Excellent. And then just one other official duty that we have to do every year. I have to read this bank resolution. It's a thrilling responsibility, but here we go. This is a formality that we have to do. The Board of Directors, herein called the Board of the Green Burial Society of Canada, herein the Society, for the purpose of managing the affairs of the Board and the Society, and for establishing and maintaining accounts in the name of the Society, unanimously resolved that the President of the Society is Crystal Riddell of Ontario, and the Vice President of the Society is Lorraine Tracy of British Columbia, and the Treasurer of the Society is Kathy Valentine of British Columbia. And these 3 persons are the signing officers of the Society, and any one of the 3 aforementioned persons is or are hereby authorized for and in the name of the Society to draw, accept, sign, and make all or any bills of exchange, promissory notes, checks, and orders for payment of money, or delegate and authorize an alternate GBSC director to generally and for and in the name and on behalf of the Society and subject to the bylaws of the Society, transact any business that they may think fit. And this authority shall be in full force and effect from the 18th day of June 2025 and shall expire on that date that comes first of either the date of the Society's 2026 annual general meeting or the 30th day of June 2026. And the banking and signing authority for the Society shall be reviewed and confirmed by resolution annually at every annual general meeting of the Society. And accordingly, this resolution was moved for endorsement by unanimous vote of the membership of the GBSC Board of Directors on June 18, 2025 at the AGM of the Society. And that moves the report, so we just need a seconder. Anybody else? There we go, Penny. Thank you, Penny. That's great. Excellent. And that is that. That is the conclusion of the business portion of the meeting. And once again, thank you to Richard and to all of the board members for doing such a great job in shepherding the organization forward. We're moving forward and growing incrementally every year. And it's because of the dedicated work of Richard and all of the volunteer board members that the organization is doing as well as it is. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen. That was wonderful to go through. Good afternoon, fellow board members, friends, and guests, whether you're joining us here in person or virtually. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as the newly appointed president of the Green Burial Society of Canada. Although I've served on the board for some years, I'm deeply humbled now to take on a leadership role with this very special organization. For those who may not know me, my name is Crystal Riddell. I'm a licensed funeral director and the owner of Essentials Cremation and Burial Services. I have 2 little funeral homes in the Niagara region in Southern Ontario. Well, the realization that college is nearly 20 years ago. My back hurts a little bit when I think about being that far back. I attended Humber College in Toronto and became a funeral director right after high school. I don't hold a business degree or environmental studies degree, though after venturing through entrepreneurship, sometimes I think I've earned an honorary degree. I did find my true calling and passion in funeral services because I genuinely love helping people, especially in their most vulnerable times. Now, the word passion is something that I believe is shared amongst every member of this board and by many wonderful people across the country who continue to advocate for natural burials in each city and province and really from coast to coast. Passion is rooted within emotion. It's the fire that fuels your commitment, the spark that makes hard work feel meaningful. So I'd like to share a story about how green burials truly captivated my attention and devotion. A few years ago, I was attending a funeral conference, and my friend Mark received an email from a lady trying to pre-plan her own green burial. She had a long list of questions that covered things like, how would her body be transferred from the city that she lived in all the way to Niagara Falls? Who would oversee her arrangements if she had no family? What kind of outfit would be appropriate for a natural burial? Where could she find a biodegradable casket or shroud? And whether or not she could still have a service for her friends that she met in online forums. The list went on, and Mark turned to me and said, would you mind replying to this lady? She's asking things that are a bit out of my scope. So that night I went back to the hotel room and I began responding one question at a time. 45 minutes later, I hit send just in time for social hour. But then when I got back to the room that night, she had replied with twice as many questions. That correspondence continued for months. In that time, I came to understand her story and that the heartbreaking reality of her life. She suffered from a condition called multiple chemical sensitivity. What began as allergies developed into an extreme respiratory distress triggered by everyday common fragrances. In the last 3 years of her life, she was confined to living in her sealed off bedroom and bathroom. She couldn't even use her kitchen space or half of her apartment. That space was dark, and she would often refer to that space as her dungeon. She said to me on a video chat, Crystal, when I die, I want to be buried in nature. I want to be surrounded by birds and butterflies and bees and amongst flowers. For her, the thought of nature brought back memories of childhood camping trips with her family, fresh air, and being in the great outdoors. It reminded her of better and healthier times. She died a few months later, and my role as a funeral director and newly adopted friend made her final wishes my priority to see through. It was then that my advocacy for green burials found its purpose. Thanks to my brilliant colleague Mark and his innovative idea to promote and open a green burial section in a municipal cemetery in Niagara Falls, this lady's final wish was able to be fulfilled. Her body was laid to rest in a beautiful meadow surrounded by flowers, pollinators, and she was free from her dark, enclosed space. Her energy was finally released back into nature. This is the power of green burial. People choose natural burials for many reasons: to minimize environmental impact, to become part of a living ecosystem, to embrace simplicity, to leave a legacy rooted in sustainability. Over the years, the Green Burial Society has grown thanks to the vision of our founding board. They created guidelines for cemeteries to use across Canada to support the development and best practices of natural burial spaces and the process. Our certification standards were designed to uphold strong ethics and values that support land restoration and transparency. If you visit our website, you'll find a list of certified green burial sites across the country. While this list is still modest, we know that there are more municipalities that are exploring and preparing to offer green burials as an option. Our goal is to expand this list to be a reliable resource for families and advocates across Canada. We frequently receive emails from people asking the same question: where's the closest green burial cemetery? How can I have that? People come to us seeking credible and meaningful and environmentally friendly sound and options. We must continue to meet that responsibility. I'm committed to ensuring that our organization continues to lead with integrity. We must hold professionals, whether they're funeral directors, cemeterians, death doulas, students, or suppliers, to a high ethical standard that reflect truthful values and best practices. Green burials exist in Canada because Canadians want choices that reflect their own personal preferences, their beliefs, or culture, and to support their concern for the environment and our planet. I'm especially excited to begin this next chapter with representation from the province of Quebec. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Virginia to the board. Thanks to Virginia's insight, already we've learned that there are ecological cemeteries in conservation type areas that encouraging the spreading of cremated remains, but only one provider in the whole province that offers natural burials in Gatineau. Now, each province has its own regulations when it comes time to legislation, and learning about laws in particular provinces can certainly help with networking and advocacy to hopefully see future changes. With Virginia's help, we can better support families seeking green burials and options in the Quebec area, in the province. There is much more to learn and much more we can do and accomplish together. I believe we have a great opportunity to help shape the future of death care in Canada. As we deepen our roots and expand our reach, may we continue to honor the earth, empower the opportunity for informed choices, and foster compassionate and ethical care. With the dedication and heart that each of our board members bring, offering their time entirely on a volunteer basis, I truly believe we will see movement continue to grow and make green burial more accessible, more visible, more meaningful for all those seeking a gentler return to the earth. Thank you again for sharing this time with us today. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of our presentation.
There are 14 Green Burial Society of Canada, GBSC, certified green burial sites across Canada. 13 are green burial areas in a cemetery, and 1 is a conservation burial cemetery. All of these sites have gone through the GBSC certification process, involving an online application, an interview, and board consideration. GBSC certified sites follow the 5 green burial principles and a host of other guidelines. In 2024, the Green Burial Society began hosting green burial cemetery operator meetings. All certified sites were invited to attend the operator meetings. These meetings have been well attended from coast to coast. We began with bi-monthly meetings, and then enthusiasm took us to monthly meetings. The conversation has been interesting and educational, learning from each other through questions and sharing experiences. Our conversations have varied from the plants that are growing to shrouds versus caskets, how deep do you dig and why, and cremation burials or not. We have also had some good talks about funeral directors and what we need for them to know and to do for a natural burial. The green burial operator meetings have paused for the late summer and spring, as this is such a busy time of year on the land, and we will resume in the fall. If you are a cemetery operator who has an uncertified green burial section, the GBSC welcomes and encourages you to apply for certification to become a part of this flourishing movement.
Now we're going to ask Penny if she can deliver her part for the Green Burial Cafe.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We held the first of our monthly Green Burial Cafes on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, an online invitation for folks across Canada and elsewhere to gather to ask questions, share experience and knowledge, and engage in lively discussions about natural burial in various locations and communities across the country. Over 70 people joined us the first month, and about 35 in the month of May, at which time we chose to pause for the summer months and reconvene in autumn. Folks from across the country attended, representing every province, including Nunavut, Yukon, and Northwest Territories, with a rich array of questions ranging from those related to the 5 basic principles of green burial to more complex queries in regards to specific federal, provincial regulations and local municipal cemetery bylaws, which offered folks in various regions an opportunity to see who else in their province or neighborhood even is also interested in advocating for natural burial in their specific communities. It is clear there is a keen interest for environmentally responsible death care options and clarity around how green burial offers positive environmental benefits, such as carbon sequestering, and also an opportunity for slowing down and including family and the earth in ceremony, as well as, which offers great benefit for mourners to actively participate in experiencing death in a real and tangible way. Folks on the calls have shared their own personal experiences of tending their loved ones in this way, which supports others who understand the benefits but maybe haven't heard a personal account. The Green Burial Cafes have been informative and engaging through mutual exchange of ideas and discussions, including many of the GBSC board members in attendance, thank you all, as well as folks joining the call from all across the country. It is clear that understanding more of the ways we can educate ourselves and request natural burial, and even better conservation burial, in our individual locations will enhance the movement across the country. We feel the Green Burial Cafes are ways to continue to grow community and education, gathering an intergenerational and across Canada group of folks interested in how their last act in life can benefit the earth and generations to come. We welcome you all to join us. Thank you.
Okay. So the next part, we're just gonna do one more little presentation on something that we have been working on for the past couple of years. Trish, if you could go to the next screen, and what it is creating a certification for funeral directors or funeral establishments rather. And so what we want to do and what we've discussed is why it's important that oftentimes when families are wanting to have a green burial, they're not only working with a cemetery, they're working with a funeral professional. And so what we feel that it's important to have a certification, because we do get asked quite often, as I mentioned in my speech, you know, who can help me with this? Who can help put this together? So we feel that there is a very important element to this whole process is being able to work and to build a network with funeral homes across Canada to help with sorry, we jumped through a couple of the screens. Go, if you can go back one more, the other way. That one, yeah, go.
This one?
Yeah, thank you. So basically what we want to do is by creating this certification for funeral establishments, will basically allow us to help with giving resources and connecting people together so funeral directors can be prepared or have the resources to be prepared to serve families. By basically supporting the funeral homes, we can also help with ensuring that they are upholding ethical standards and best practices as well. And it's a really unique, we were talking during our lunch, it's a really unique, green burials really do call for a little bit more connection between working with cemeterians and funeral directors together. So we feel by introducing a certification in this area will definitely allow and encourage good working relationships between. So when people have discussions on who's bringing the backboard, is it the funeral director or the cemetery, it just kind of shows the awareness why it's really important that we build this bridge together to be able to work and serve families. So what's going to be involved within this? Coming the fall, we, on our website, we will have the greenburialcanada.ca under the memberships packages. There's going to be a tab that's going to be for a funeral service certification. People will have to fill out an application online that will be all submitted through us. We go through and we will kind of vet through like the application. There'll be a follow-up email or almost like a phone call or something through Zoom that we can just make sure that what they've stated on their applications. There's also going to be a checklist where out of like 30 items, they need to mark down like that they implemented like 22 of the items on the checklist to ensure that they are kind of going again with the same best practices that we've as a board have established. And so basically, once we have that conversation and they will pay their membership dues, it's a one-time application fee is $150, and then it's an annual fee of $300. Now, some of the benefits of doing that and having funeral homes be part of it, number one, we want to be able to increase sort of what we're being able to share on our social media and our outreach. It's a great opportunity for if a funeral establishment or a cemetery ever wants to put something together like a blog, we can share that as well. So it kind of expands the reach a little bit for funeral homes. Their names, like the funeral establishment names, going to go onto a map. Like so we had a picture of a map of Canada with all the locations of cemeteries, but we want to duplicate that for the funeral establishments that hold certification with us as well. Because when we do get that email, if we know that there's someone in a certain area in, Alberta or in Ontario, we can say, well, we know that we have members that are here, so maybe you should check in with them. Here's their contact information. So that will give us a little bit more of a resource where we can direct people to. Our benefits will also include some resources in educational, like peer forums. So when people get together and they have discussion at like the cemeteries, we'll do a round table for funeral teams as well. So people that want to go on a call every couple of months, we'll probably do this bi-monthly. We'll get online and just talk about experiences, talk about things that work really well, things where someone might have had troubles. We will have a great, very supportive team. And again, being very open-minded to every province has different laws and rules that we can be able to connect the funeral homes with people within that province. So that is it's going to be a great resource for people. And then overall for funeral establishments too, this will help gain some credibility towards being part of a Canadian-wide organization that is represented from coast to coast. So when people, if they see that they are certified with us, we're going to do our homework to make sure. And there'll be follow-up as well with the establishments to make sure that we're maintaining and they are maintaining best practices. So really in the conclusion of what we're doing with this project is we are like heavily focused on cemetery certifications. That is always going to be our main area of where we want to see those cemeteries develop. But we do want to definitely incorporate funeral homes on that, funeral establishments, I should say, on that as well. So that is the project that we've been working on, and we're very excited to see this off the ground come the fall.
Could I make a quick comment?
Absolutely.
I want to thank Crystal for shepherding this funeral service provider certification through. This has been a little bit of a long haul. Those of us that have been around for a number of years know that this has come and gone off of our table for quite a while, and I just wanted to say I'm thrilled to see that it's finally moving forward, and Crystal has done a great job in making this happen. So thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Now I've one of two presentations. I'm going to introduce Derek Earle, who's the president and founder of Biz for Climate. I got to know Derek a number of years back when he was involved with World Trade Center Winnipeg. I'd run into him at various events, business community events, and we would always have a good conversation about one thing or another, which one thing or another led to him telling me about Biz for Climate. And I was quite excited about that because I had started my own company and then began to be a lot more ecologically aware of the lack of funeral participation and industry participation of what's going on within the funeral industry, and thought that I could make a difference, but also by meeting other people in the business community that had the same concerns environmentally from their own areas of knowledge and expertise, sharing those things and learning and growing from one another. So with that, I'd like to introduce Derek Earle to bring a presentation in regards to Biz for Climate. Derek.
So in business and in life, legacy is really our final statement. And let's make sure that it speaks clearly about who we were and what we stood for. So I'm very grateful to be invited to be part of today's gathering and AGM for the Green Burial Society. This is meaningful work, it's timely work, it's important work that you're all doing here. Thanks in particular to Richard for reaching out to invite me to come down and meet everyone and participate in today. And the reminder of your comment earlier about our gathering earlier in the year, of the first time we brought together all the signatory companies to this movement and all talk about that, so tell you a little bit more about that. But this idea of doing what's necessary. You know, we look around the state of the world that we find ourselves in, the advanced state of climate change, you know, the multiple sort of overlapping complex challenges and crises that are out there for us to deal with. It's long work, you know, anyone who's working in the environmental space, and I know all of you are, it's long, challenging work, but it is very necessary. And we do need to come together around these topics, and we do need to find ways to advance solutions. So Biz for Climate is an organization. We're bringing together a network and a coalition. And we now have over 230 companies that have come together, business leaders, you know, united around this idea of championing climate action. And we really believe that climate action belongs in every sector of the economy, in every sector of business. And a lot of what we do is built on this idea that business owners and executives and companies have a role and a responsibility to help drive change, and to not just look about what's happening in our own individual businesses, but to also be willing to look in our communities, in our provinces, across the country, and what's our impact in the world. And there's a lot of big global and systemic issues out there that's, you know, that cause challenges to lots of us. And business owners in particular, I believe, have both that role and a responsibility, but a real opportunity to help drive change. And we need business leaders from every sector, large companies, small companies, to help step forward on this critical issue. And we need to transform our industries, and we need to transform our relationship to the planet, and how we go about that. Biz for Climate, we're a Manitoba-based not-for-profit organization, completely nonpartisan in the work that we do, focused around climate leadership, around clean industries, and promoting a sustainable and a net zero economy. Our role is to be here to help engage and to amplify the voice of businesses, to support smart climate policies, and to help accelerate the transition across different sectors. And so I really do see a lot of alignment and shared vision with what you're working on here with the Green Burial Society. And in fact, I look at this as really like a powerful and a fascinating example of industry transformation, about, you know, rethinking traditional norms, about aligning practices, you know, with values of sustainability and of stewardship, and of offering people a legacy of renewal and not of harm to the planet. So, you know, honoring the planet, even in death, reflects that kind of full circle commitment to sustainability. And it also aligns with what we're talking about, if we need business leaders to step forward and help drive that change. So I believe that the work you're doing here is part of laying that foundation about, you know, challenging those traditional values and norms, and, you know, helping to not just bring innovation to this and to meet what I'm hearing through the presentations and what you're sharing in the beautiful video we just saw. There's a need and there's a desire out there as well for exactly what you're offering, and people want to do better, I think, in so many ways. So, you know, that really ties back into what our core mission is, and we're here to try to change policies and business practices and change norms, and do it in a way that's going to help us respond to a broad issue like climate change, but broadly to champion sustainability and to be much more, you know, to lessen our environmental impact broadly as we go forward. So, you know, I'm just only up here for a couple minutes to say a few words of welcome and really encouragement. I think I want to, you know, encourage you to move forward in what you're doing. And, you know, we'd love to be allies and help support in that cause. It's very easy to get involved in the work that we're doing. The way to get engaged in the network and the work of Biz for Climate is to sign on to our version of a climate action pledge. And that sounds like maybe a big lofty thing, but it's really just declaring support for a few key messages and principles. That, number one, we agree that climate change is an urgent and important issue, and we need to keep this high on our agenda. And number two, that we really need to collectively align our economic and our business strategies with climate action sustainability. And that needs to be the path forward. And third, that we need to come together collectively, and it's collective action that's gonna help us address these broader issues, so we can use our voices and our influence and our clout for, to advocate for the changes that we need to see. So that can be done through our website at bizforclimate.com. There's no cost, and it's just about joining the movement. And then at the same time, we want to be here as, allies and help put wind in the sails and help get this message out there. And I told us out, I was at an event earlier today, different event about Indigenous-led renewable energy projects here in Manitoba. And small talk that I said, well, actually I have to leave early and come out to that event. And I started telling people what it was. And people were fascinated to hear what was going on and to hear what this is all about. And what I just keep hearing is like, I had no idea. I'd never thought about that. And that's probably exactly the words I said to Richard when he was telling me about what he was doing. I had no idea. But once you start to learn about the greenhouse gas emissions, the footprint, the ecological footprint, it just underscores how important this work is. So to close, thank you for the important work that you're doing, that everyone's doing as part of the society and within your industry. Congrats on another successful AGM. Good luck to the incoming board directors, and we're excited to help support and amplify this message and follow your progress as we go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
I don't remember what year it was when Brett Schenbeck became the administrator for the City of Winnipeg cemeteries. Maybe we won't talk about how many years ago that was, but when he became the administrator for a City of Winnipeg that takes care of 3 cemeteries in the City of Winnipeg, Brookside, St. Vital, and Transcona, I'd gone to meet him and had an opportunity to introduce myself. And by that time, I just started my own funeral company, and I said somewhere along this introduction, I just want to say that I'd like to work with you at somewhere and to convince you, encourage you to consider seriously developing a green burial section in one of your 3 cemeteries or all of them. And his response made me smile right down to my shoelaces, and he said, that's part of my plan. And so today we hear from Brett and some of the inciting and encouraging things that are happening with the City of Winnipeg, and in particular with Brookside Cemetery. So Brett, please, thank you.
Well, thank you, Richard. It was 6 years ago when we met, and I've actually been with the city for about 17 years now. The last 6 years as cemeteries administrator for the city. My background is actually urban planning, so I've served as an urban planner for the city for my first 11 years, and made the switch over to City of Winnipeg Cemeteries. So I have a brief presentation, about 10 minutes or so. Providing just a really brief overview of City of Winnipeg Cemeteries, and we'll focus in a little bit on Brookside Cemetery and provide a few details on our natural burial section, which is currently under development. Slide, please. So just a really quick overview of the City of Winnipeg cemetery landscape. So at last count, there's about 51 cemeteries within the region. Quite a few religion-based cemeteries, some nonprofits, private, and as Richard mentioned, 3 cemeteries that are owned and operated by the City of Winnipeg. So Brookside Cemetery, which is just a couple blocks from here. St. Vital Cemetery, which is located in the south of Winnipeg, adjacent to St. Vital Park, and Transcona Cemetery, which is located actually in the RM of Springfield, just outside of the city's boundaries. The 3 City of Winnipeg cemeteries encompass about 300 acres of land. There's been about 130,000 interments that have taken place to date within these 3 cemeteries. We do about 800 to 900 annual interments. So all 3 cemeteries are still very much active. Brookside, the largest of the 3, we do about 500 to 600 interments per year at Brookside, and about 150 per year at each of St. Vital and Transcona. So again, all 3 very much active, and a pretty significant amount of land still available to accommodate future demand. Slide. So a little bit of background on Brookside Cemetery. So it was first established in 1877. Believe it or not, at that point in time, City of Winnipeg was one of the fastest growing cities in North America, Chicago in the north. So Winnipeg City Council at that time made a decision to invest in some land to accommodate future burial demand. Purchasing the site where Brookside stands today, they purchased about 160 acres of land, which at the time was about 6 miles from the closest development in the city. So it was way out there, very inaccessible. The 1920s, they actually added bus service from the nearest streetcar line to the cemetery just to get folks there a little bit easier. And that was even still 2 miles away. So fast forward to today, Brookside Cemetery is about 200 acres in size. There's been 110,000 interments that have taken place to date. So my understanding is that Brookside Cemetery is the largest municipally owned and operated cemetery in Canada and the largest cemetery in Western Canada. It's also home to one of the largest and oldest fields of honor in Canada. So there's over 10,000 veterans that are buried in the field of honor at Brookside Cemetery. You can see in the picture the cross of sacrifice. The cemetery is also home to a stone of remembrance. You'll see quite a few of them in Europe, but the stone of remembrance at Brookside is the only one of its kind in all of the Americas. So that's something that makes the cemetery really quite unique. Also important to note that the cemetery was designated as a National Historic Site in 2023. So there's only 24 in all of Winnipeg. Brookside is one of those 24. And my understanding is it's the only cemetery, standalone cemetery in all of Manitoba that's designated as a National Historic Site. Next slide, please. So we have allowed burials at all 3 of our cemeteries that are on the greener side. You could say greenish. Embalming is certainly not required. Liners and vaults are not a requirement. Burial in a shroud or biodegradable container, it is permitted. Memorialization is optional. So there's certainly greener approaches to burial that are permitted today, but we haven't had a section that really focused on specifically natural burial. So that's what we've been working on the last number of years. The space itself is about half an acre. It's nestled along Omens Creek and kind of bound on all sides by really beautiful mature trees. So it's really a very nice space and a really serene setting. There's space for over 100 natural burials, and we're also considering an adjacent cremation interment option. We've been hearing a fair bit from folks in the community that there is interest in folks who are considering cremation, but still interested in a greener approach. So that is something that we're currently considering adjacent to the Green Burial site. And we're looking to align, of course, with the Green Burial Society of Canada principles. And I'm just going to walk through each of those briefly just to show how we intend to align. So firstly, in terms of ecological restoration, the site has actually already been naturalized with native grasses and wildflowers. So in the spring of 2024, working with the city's Natural Services branch, we planted native prairie grasses on the site. In the fall, we then added a wildflower mix, I believe a mix of 19 different wildflowers to the site. And since that time, we've kind of stepped back and let the site establish. We hope to allow burials later this summer. Burials will be allowed based on a sequential plan. So the idea is to really minimize disruption of the site, focus on working in one specific area at a time, just to really allow the site to develop with minimal impact. Communal memorialization is another important element. So there'll be no individual memorials within the section. We've ordered a communal memorial that looks very much like the one in the attached in the picture from, I believe that's Prairie Sky in Calgary. So for folks who are interested in memorializing their loved ones, they'll have that option on the communal structure. Within the site itself, Most cemeteries would have, call them cones or numbers labeling each grave within the area. That's something we're not doing in this area. So we'll have some strategically located pins that our staff can measure off of to make sure we know where everyone is and where they're going. But we're going to try to really minimize disruption in that area. Next slide, please. Of course, embalming would not be permitted. Section. Caskets must be made of biodegradable materials. A shroud is certainly acceptable as well. And the site itself is a remnant parcel in an older established area of the city, so, or the cemetery. So it's essentially an infill parcel. So we're making use of an old remnant parcel in the cemetery and making efficient use of the land on the site itself. Just in terms of next steps, we just last week installed our communal gathering space. So that has now been completed. We'll next be looking to install the communal memorial, hopefully in the 3rd quarter of this year, and offering burials shortly after. So we're looking at hopefully in the 3rd quarter, being able to officially offer burials within this area. And, yeah, that's it for my presentation. Happy to answer questions if there's any.
I have a question. Sir, would you mind staying up here for a moment?
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you have a question?
You need a microphone so that they can hear you.
Oh, let's ask that the next.
Hang on a minute. Stop share screen. Stop share. Hold on. Okay. Want to ask if there's any questions online?
Sure.
You can.
Since we have a captive Brett Shedbeck, does anyone have any questions for Brett that are gathered online? Just reading quickly through the messages here.
Maybe even ask Lacey if because
Anything,
she was managing it.
anything there? Just checking with our secretary.
Nothing coming in yet, but if anyone online would like to ask a question, you can just pop it into the chat or raise your hand and we can unmute you.
There's going to be a Q&A point after this too.
We're going to do a Q&A after, so there might be something that pops in there after. So, okay, well, we'll just carry on with this presentation that we have for Brett. Do you have a question for me? No, my question was if you could stand and say it. But yes. Yeah. I can't think of a better way to end my term as president of the Green Burial Society than to make an official presentation to Manitoba Cemetery, to a Winnipeg cemetery, to the first cemetery in our province and our city, as an approved provider of the Green Burial Society's list of certification rules. So it is with distinct pleasure and pride and appreciation to Brett and his team with everything that you've done over these years of developing and putting it together and talking to your masters downtown to have everyone agree that this is a good and important aspect for all of us here in the city of Winnipeg. And more especially, I'm grateful because it's you and the path that brought you here from urban planning and doing all of these things and just your own thoughts and beliefs. And if it wasn't for who you are and where you came from, this wouldn't have worked as well as it does. So with that, Brett, on behalf of all of us from the Green Burial Society, and as a proud citizen of the city of Winnipeg, I present you your certificate of certified green burial area on behalf of the Green Burial Society of Canada. Thank you very much for everything that you've done, and look forward to working with you in the future. Yeah. All right. Okay, good, thank you. Oh, I was looking forward to that all day. All right, where are we now? Can I go sit down? Or
We're gonna do the Q and A now.
Q&A?
Yes.
So if there's, well, we're gonna keep this kind of brief, so if anyone has any questions online, the room is gonna be kind of quiet, but, anyone online has any questions or comments, so please bring them forward and we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
So do I now get to participate in operator meetings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
That's awesome.
Okay. I was gonna say, give me my.
Yeah. Sometimes
Most people don't get it, like, most people get it.
Is there any questions? Rich?
I'm just waiting to see online. So,
Oh, good, well, we're getting congratulations, so that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks Wayne for the congratulations.
I'll see if there's any other,
There's,
maybe ask Lacey.
Lacey, any questions that you see?
No, I don't see any yet.
Oh, okay. I'm going once, going twice. No.
I really like this info page you put together. Is the Green Burial Service Provider, like I noticed is number 1. Is that the new
No.
membership you created, or what's the difference there?
We're working on a new brochure. The board hasn't approved a new one yet. So, it's just capacity leading up to our board. So that's the old one. That's the one we've been running previously for the last number of years, but that list will change.
So what was a Green Burial Service Provider previously? Oh, okay, okay. Say, I was just curious if that was something different that I didn't know about.
No, because this document hasn't changed for many years. So it was time to revitalize and revamp it. So we took on certain projects, and this was one of them, but it was one of the last ones. It was more important for us to focus on Crystal's work with the funeral director side and work on that. This, we didn't finish. We just didn't have a chance to finish it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed their time with us today. And just as we wrap up the presentation, there's a couple of items I just wanted to share. Just first, again, extending a very special thank you to the board members who really focus on putting this agenda together, presentation. Hours of work went into creating this, and it was a beautiful collaboration. I want to just also acknowledge the wonderful efforts of our past president, Richard, for agreeing to host us here in Winnipeg, and for the past 2 years of leadership and many years of commitments to the Green Burial Society of Canada. So actually, Richard, if you can come up here for a second. So I just want to take actually this moment to really truly acknowledge everything that you've done. Your heart is in this so much, which is such a beautiful thing. It's wonderful for leadership. So I just have a little memento just to thank you for everything, and for hosting us later tonight as well, because I know our fun time's going to continue. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you can please join me if you're online or here in person, just for everything that you've.
Thank you. Oh, we got a photo. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really everybody. I have not, I've not had as much fun to be on a board than I have here. Because of the people that are involved, the zeal, that tenacity of wanting to make things better for other people. You've made the chair, my role as chair, a whole lot easier, a whole lot of fun, very inspiring. And I wouldn't get this if it wasn't for all of you. So to all the members of the board, past and present, thanks.
So that pretty much sums up our time right now in concluding like our meeting. Again, as was mentioned, that we're gonna have a summer break and resume our meetings back in the fall, which includes the cafes and operators meeting. So there's gonna be a little bit of a break over the summer. But we do want to just encourage people how they can further support the GBSC is that you make sure that you subscribe to our Friends of Green Barrel. It's a membership category, it's $50. But that helps support us. So then when we do have AGMs or things like continuing with our website, it helps with that side financially for us. It certainly does help. And then also just keep in touch with us. So we have had wonderful people reach out just wanting to even be part of the board or to continue to come with to come to meetings. So the more that we have in terms of people reaching out just to lend a hand really just expands our reach of advocacy, which is beautiful. So we are going to be concluding the time online, and then we have some refreshments here, coffee and tea. And of course, we can leave everything going for just a little bit if there are further questions that come through. But thank you very much for, again, attending today. Safe travels as everyone goes back home. And this concludes the 2025 AGM. So thank you.
Website of the GBSC. This is the 5 principles of balance. Can't sort of say those 5 principles.
I saw names. There was 3 of them.
We need to.
Yeah, so ones that I appreciate. The pastor, secretary.
Participate in the society. I mean, I've heard that there's 4 then they are municipal, and they're on, and over one, I heard just cemeteries, I kind of feel like that. Yeah.
I think